following program is sponsored. The opinions and statements made by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the views of WBOB or its parent company, the Chesapeake Portsmouth Broadcasting Corporation.
Does your roof need replacing? Your house need cleaning? Or maybe you're ready to update your kitchen? Big or small, whatever your home improvement need, log on to home.servicemagic.com. ServiceMagic is a free online resource with instant access to pre-screened remodelers, maids, handymen, painters, and many other home contractors. It's easy and it's free. Just go to home.servicemagic.com. home.servicemagic.com. That's home.servicemagic.com.
It's time for Real Estate Radio with Angela and Howard. Angela and Howard talk about what's new in real estate and answer your buying and selling questions. To participate in today's show, call 222-TALK. That's 222-8255. And now, here are Angela and Howard.
Good morning, Northeast Florida. Man, am I excited to be here today. This is a perfect weather day. I thought it was going to be cold. I went outside, not so much. Loving the weather. It's fantastic. It's the weekend. People are off work. That's a good thing. And we have a guest in our studio today who's one of my favorite people. It's Greg Harris from Watson Title. Hey, Greg.
Good morning.
Yeah. So I'm just so excited. I'm like, and I swear to God, Howard, I've only had like a half of a cup of coffee.
It must have been a triple espresso. Oh, my gosh.
Try to keep up, would you?
Okay, I'll try to keep up.
Well, no, you know what I think it is? I think every time I'm around Greg, he talks so fast. He really is from the South. I mean, we went to bowls together. I know he's from here. But he just chatters so fast that it gets me going.
I am a fast-talking Southerner, but I'll do my best to behave today.
Well, Angela, I think you've outsped him so far this morning.
So far, I talked faster.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm super happy to be here. We've had a great week, haven't we, Howard?
We sure have.
Yeah.
As we normally do.
Yes.
Met a couple of nice people, didn't we?
Oh,
you had a great time yesterday with a gentleman who has a duplex at the beach that we're going to put on the market in a couple of weeks. So if you're looking for a great investment property, that's what, 3 blocks from the beach?
No. It was like
5 blocks?
5 blocks from the beach. And it's, it's from the 80s, so it needs to be updated or, it doesn't really, if you're going to keep it as a rental, it's just fine. It's a rental right now. But anyway, it's a nice property. And I had a really great time hanging out with him. He was just really interesting.
And we had such a good closing.
You know what? He's the brother of one of our past customers. And that happens to us a lot when we do business with someone. They have a nice experience, and then they refer us on to their family and friends, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, and one of our customers, their grandchild was born. They sold their house in Mandarin
yesterday.
We closed yesterday. They were so happy. They had their house listed with another realtor. It didn't get sold with that realtor. And, of course, this happens a lot. Last year we had almost 30 houses that we had sold that had been listed with another realtor. Didn't sell. We made contact with them, told them about some things that we thought they needed to do.
Yep.
They did it. The house got sold. They were very happy. All of those people were very happy, of course. And this couple was so happy because their life is such a great time in their life.
They're getting it. They have their first grandbaby.
They're moving to
Gainesville.
They bought a house there, and life was just great for them. They did a couple of things to their house that we asked them to do, power wash the front, paint 2 rooms because it made the room look a little bit dark. The house sold very, very quickly. The closing process with Greg and his staff. Greg just put a big smile on his face. Greg, your staff did a great job on that closing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Crystal did that closing for us, and she was bright and smiley as
she always
usual.
Is. Yep.
It went terrific.
And Dana is behind the snes doing all the hard stuff.
So it went terrific. They were so incredibly happy. They showed pictures of their grandchildren, and they were just so happy that everything went so smoothly. And part of that process a big part of that process, as soon as the contract with the sellers comes in, it goes to Greg to start his process. So, Greg, why don't you take us through what that process is that goes behind the scenes? Because so much of the selling process is after, the contract comes in. So take us through what happened.
And that's a perfect description of where we pick up in the real estate process and move forward. It's a little bit opaque because it is really complicated, but what we do in the title insurance and settlement services part of the world is we take that purchase and sale agreement, that contract that people have, and we begin the process of making sure that new home buyer is getting exactly what they think they're getting, and they get full possession of it. Because like any insurance policy, what title insurance in a nutshell means is you, the new homeowner, this is your property, you own it. There's nothing that's going to impact its value to you as you purchased it. So we create what's called a 30-year marketable title, where we look at that property and we look at the homeowner and look at all those things that may have been impacted that value, whether it's they've used it as collateral to borrow money, whether there are any tax liens, if the person who's selling the property is actually the person who's authorized to sell it and is the only owner of the property. They don't have a prior marriage there. And there's three things that most buyers and sellers were here in the process related to what's going on in the background. Ordering title, that's when we begin to do the research on the property. There's the title commitment that usually shows up 5 to 7 working days after that. And what that does is that's when most of the research is done on the property. We say, hey, the following things have been found connected to that property, whether it's mortgages that are outstanding, home equity lines of credit, whether there are multiple owners, if there's mineral rights, everything that the new home buyer needs to know. Yes, this property is here, but in order for it to be successfully transferred to you as an entire entity without any liens or encumbrances, these are things that need to either be cleared up or you just need to be aware of. And then at the end of the day, they get that title policy that'll protect them. And if they pass on and somebody inherits the property from them, and their heirs are protected from anything that comes down the road that might impact the value and the ownership of that property.
Now, you said 30 years. Mm-hmm. So does the property does the insurance policy, the title policy, only protect them for 30 years and their heirs?
No, it's just the research actually goes back further 30 years. It's going back. It protects them for their entire lifetime and the lifetime of any of their heirs that may own the property. Okay.
Now, you mentioned mineral rights. Mm-hmm. What exactly are mineral rights? When I buy a house, I have mineral rights?
A lot of people, especially those that move to Florida, just think it's all sand and beaches. It's not. Some of the most valuable property from a mining point of view in the country is in Florida. Rare earth minerals, phosphate, those that, like Angela and I, have a little bit of a family history in the Northeast Florida know this, but Ponte Vedra, Sawgrass, and all the nice places at the beach, not quite a good marketing program, but they used to be called Mineral City. And you go back 100 years ago, and what is now golf courses and multi-million-dollar homes had a backhoe and a little bit of railroad track digging dirt. So that's where Florida and mineral rights come from. It's not oil. It has to do with the sand and what's hidden between the grains of sand that's very valuable.
Interesting.
So cool.
Wow. So some people on the beach may own some things under the sand that are valuable, but you don't see many people digging anymore.
No, it might mess up the pool. They don't want to do that.
All right. When we come back after the break, we're going to answer more questions that we have, and you're going to answer them for us. And if anybody has a question, they can call at 904-222-8255. Right, Angela?
Absolutely.
All right. What's your theme there?
222 talk to me. You have to call.
All right.
222 talk.
All right.
8255. Call in and talk to Greg. Anything about mortgages, not mortgages, title and closing.
All right.
Bye.
We'll be right back. Stay with us, everybody. Good morning, WBOB listeners. It's your realtor on the radio, Howard Vergalis of Watson Realty Corp. Angela and I want to thank you for tuning in with us for our 5th year now. It's been such a great pleasure to be on the radio with you, giving you advice on buying and selling, as well as answering your questions on the air. Thank you so much for the trust that you have in us as professional, experienced realtors with over 20 years of combined experience. We want you to know that when it's time to sell your home, we want to be your realtor. We will focus on your home, your family, and your time frame. Our team will customize a marketing plan to give you the best exposure to get you the best price and have the best selling experience possible. Whether it's a condo or a house, a short sale or a regular sale, a $200,000 home or a mansion, you will get the same great service. Call us at 421-7950 and join the multitudes of others that have experienced the Angela and Howard team advantage.
Are you buying a property being sold by HUD? As a buyer, you can select Watson Title Services of North Florida as your settlement agent. Avoid having to deal with out-of-town companies and make sure you get the world-class customer service of Watson Title Services that Angela and Howard have come to expect. Call them at 461-3220 when you're looking at buying a HUD property to ensure your purchase goes through as smoothly as possible. That's 461-3220. Angela and Howard do.
There's finally a mortgage lender in Jacksonville that sees financing differently. With 20 years' experience, CMG Financial understands that the most important purchase in your life, your home, deserves the right mortgage. Tim McConnell at CMG Financial will work to customize the best financing option for you. Angela and I recommend CMG Financial to all our customers. Give Tim a call at 528-2103. That's 528-2103. CMG Financial is a registered trade name of CMG Mortgage, Inc., NMLS number 1820, and licensed as a mortgage lender servicer by the Office of Financial Regulation, number MLD 375, individual MLS number 181046.
Angela Walker and Howard Vergalis of Watson Realty Corp. not only come to you every Saturday morning, but they would also like to work with you when you need them the most. That is, when you need to buy or sell a home. They pride themselves in giving you their very best effort every day and in every way. There are many realtors in the First Coast to choose from. Let them show you the Howard and Angela team advantage. Call them at 421-7950 or email them at realestateradio@yahoo.com.
You know the importance of a home inspection before buying a home. But who should you call? Who can you truly trust?
We recommend the certified inspection experts at Home Pro Inspections because of the experience of their inspectors, an 18-month home warranty, and the Buy Your Home Back guarantee. Every Home Pro inspection includes a 5-year roof protection plan.
Do what Angela and I do. Call Home Pro Inspections, 268-8211, or visit GoHomePro.com.
This segment of Real Estate Radio with Angela and Howard is brought to you by CMG Financial. For answers to your North Florida real estate questions, call into the show at 222-TALK. That's 222-8255.
Welcome back, everybody. We are having such a great time here in the studio today with Greg Harris from Watson Title and me and Howard, and we're just gabbing through the commercials and having fun. And I want to remind everyone the telephone number to call in to talk to Greg and ask him any questions that you have about any title issues or how things go at closing or any of that. Greg is here. He's an expert. So feel free to call in 222-TALK, which is 8255. And of course, we're area code 904. Should we say it?
Sure.
Duval. Sorry. Okay. So anyway, what I want to talk about, because it's so relevant, and as we're coming into our busy season, Greg, this is so important from the realtor's perspective, but also from the customer's perspective, whether you're the buyer or the seller. You need to think carefully about the closing date that you're choosing, right?
That's exactly right. It's just like, I know they're not a sponsor of the show, but perhaps they should be. Let's say you're at Publix and you're going to the checkout line. Are you just going to get in the longest line because that's the line everybody else is getting in? Or are you looking for the shorter line at Publix? You want to get the shorter line at Publix.
Right.
You've got a busy life.
Right.
You've got stuff to do. I don't want to wait behind 20 people when I can wait behind 4.
Right.
And picking your closing date's about the same because, think in isolation, people, it's because we all have jobs to do.
Right.
People think, well, it'd be easier just to take a Friday off.
Yes.
And, well, we'll just close at the end of the month because we'll just wind things up. Well, everybody's thinking that way. As a result, when you look at where people want to close, it all stacks up on Fridays, and especially Friday or the last few days of the month. And that's not the time you want to close for the same reason why you don't want to get in a long line at Publix.
Right.
And there's other things that are going on in the background, too. Everybody in our business are human.
Mm-hmm. We
We all work under a 24-hour day, and in theory, one should be able to sleep. And about 75% of residential real estate closings involve somebody who's getting a mortgage.
Right.
And the mortgage lenders, they've got a tough job. It's a tough business. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done to make sure that every penny is accounted for. And they've got to make sure that those packages are ready to go for a closing.
Yes.
And if they can really do a good job on, I'm just using round numbers here, 10 a day.
Yes.
Giving allowance for something that might need more attention. If you're closing on a Friday or at the end of the month, that poor man or woman has got 15 in front of them.
Yes.
And if you have a problem file, are they going to stop an entire pipeline to just make sure that happens in a timely manner? Or are they going to get the ones that don't have problems and you're going to go to the bottom of the stack? I don't know, but probably they're going to take care of what's not going to take much time. And things can happen.
Yes.
When you close on a Friday or the end of the month, always give yourself a little bit of leeway. And sometimes life kind of paints you in a corner, but I always try I tell people to do the best they can to try to adjust things in their life. So when they're sitting at that closing table or signing those documents, it should be a happy occurrence. It shouldn't be a rushed occurrence. It should be something that is a positive point in your life that you don't have to do twice. Just have to do once. So when at all possible, pick a time that enables everybody involved in the transaction to be able to give you that experience. And more often than not, if you avoid Fridays and the last 3 days of the month, you'll be able to do that because you'll be in the short line at Publix and not the long line.
That's really a great analogy. And, when we have closings that don't happen on time, right, and they do. I mean, we had one this week that's getting delayed because the buyer is in Saudi Arabia. And, he's actually a U.S. citizen working, but his employer, where they need to confirm whether he is employed or not, is in Saudi Arabia. So at the point that the lender requested the final check of employment, which they generally do just before they disclose for the closing, it was already Saturday in Saudi Arabia because of the time difference. So we weren't able to do that. Well, now we'll have to wait till the business day happens again in Saudi Arabia for them to give, verification of employment. And so that has postponed our closing. So for the buyers, they will probably be flying here for the closing, right? So that's probably of little impact to them. But for the sellers, they needed to buy another house. So now this is sort of a domino effect forward because that second closing can't happen till the first one does. And so the seller of the home is asking, what are all the implications to me? What should I be thinking about? How's this impacting me? And, if they have a mortgage and their interest rate's locked until that day, if they have to extend their interest rate lock, that's going to cost them money. The movers, they're having to reschedule them. Maybe they're available. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're already booked for the new move date. That could have some impact as well. Utilities, right? Because they've probably already called the utility company and had it turned off.
Or insurance.
The homeowner's insurance, they tend to say, hey, I'm getting a new house in this policy on this house and start the next one. That, you have to make sure you don't have a gap there. So it's better, actually, Greg and I were talking about this earlier, to have the insurance and the utilities happen after closing, like the turnoff of it. If you're the seller, have it happen after closing, just to make sure that you've got that safety net.
Yeah, don't turn off your existing policy until you're moved into the new place, and don't turn off your power in your old house. Let the new buyers turn on the power after they close, and then just call up JEA or whatever power company and say, okay, has the new power been turned on by the new buyer?
Yeah, that's so important to give yourself wiggle room, because there are so many different players involved in a transaction that can cause a deal to shift to the right on the calendar.
Yes.
And they're completely beyond your control. For instance, earlier this month, most of the eastern seaboard got hit by an incredible winter storm.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
And there are parts of the country, Southerners don't do well on ice. And we had overnight packages that needed to be delivered for signing for people in the Carolinas, especially North Carolina. And what would, you send in a package to, outside of Charlotte, should get there overnight, no problem.
Yeah.
It could take up to 4 days. So that
because
causes
of the weather.
A complete delay.
Yes.
So you just can't assume that everything's going to be right. And everybody in the transaction can do everything right. But then the weather says, well, that's an interesting plan you have. I have other plans for it. And you just need to be able to adjust for it. And if you do it right, a year from now, you won't even remember it. But you will remember it if you assume everything's going to work perfectly. Because we don't.
And it goes sideways. Yeah.
It's not a perfect world.
No, it's not.
Hope for the best, but plan for challenges.
It's really difficult to kind of help like a first-time home buyer navigate through this process, because you're saying, oh, and these things could go wrong. So, be flexible, and, and they're not. And it's challenging, right? Because most of the people who are buying homes and getting mortgages, they have jobs. So they've already planned for a certain amount of time off to close the house and to move. And now we've just changed all their dates. Well, that doesn't just impact them. It also impacts wherever they work. It
impacts their families or support structures. That's why, buying and selling real estate, it can be, and usually is, unless you have just one of those really nice packages put together. It's a very stressful occasion.
Yes.
A lot of that stress comes from people who maybe don't understand all the complications, and they get surprised. That's the great advantage, is if you're going to buy or sell a home, you want to make sure you've got a great professional team with you, because they're going to at least help you understand the challenges that are going to be there, so you're not going to be shocked, you're not going to be surprised, and you won't accidentally paint yourself in a corner.
Right.
As long as you know what could happen, then you're prepared for it, and you're not going to be surprised. That's an important ingredient.
Ever since we had all the changes with the mortgages, they've tried to have longer closings, right? We talked for a long time about 60-day closings. And for most people and most lenders, that was too long. And so we're back to seeing 45-day closings. I'm back to seeing 30-day closings again. I'm like, really? I mean, I don't even want to accept this offer. Like, I don't think you can do it. And I talked to a mortgage person the other night at like 8:30 at night. I'm like, I want to accept this offer, but I need to know that you can get this done in this time frame, And she was really nice. She's like, we actually can. So I'm like, okay, I'll try.
That puts a strain on you to do a closing in 30 days, doesn't it? All the things that need to be done?
As long as, if there's a lender involved, as long as the lender can play, we can make it fine, as long as when we get the title commitment back, it's a relatively clean title. If the title has some twists and turns and some little monsters hidden in it, it could take a while to clear those up. But usually, as long as the lender can perform, we can too.
Okay, we're going to talk about what a clean title means.
I want to talk more what the monsters are.
Okay. All right. Well, we got lots more stuff to talk about when we come back after the halfway point in our show here with Greg. And by the way, his phone number after the show, 461-3220. But ours is 222-8255. Stay with us, everyone. We will be right back.
AM 600, 101.1 FM, Talk Radio, WBOB.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The Afghan Public Health Ministry says the death toll is now up above 60 in a bombing that took place today in Kabul. At least 140 people are injured. They say the Taliban bombers disguised themselves as ambulance drivers to get where they needed to go to let off their explosives. And yes, the Taliban immediately claimed responsibility. U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis spoke in Honolulu yesterday along with South Korean Defense Minister Song Young-moo about their work together to stop North Korea from developing nuclear arms. He says that the world really needs to continue to focus on that problem despite all the positive talk about North and South Korea working together in the Winter Olympic Games. U.S. health officials say the flu blanketed the U.S. again last week for the third straight week. Only Hawaii has been spared this season from a widespread flu outbreak. This is SRN News.
At AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care, we stay focused on just two things: our customers and our employees. I'm Dean Black, local AMCO owner. Of course, there's nothing more important than taking care of every customer to make sure they get their repairs done right at the right price. And we can take great care of our customers because we hire great people and we treat them well. That's how we deliver extraordinary service to our customers. Visit any of our 7 area AMCO locations where we'll happily provide a free review of your repair needs. Looking for a new opportunity? Please apply. We're always looking for new professionals to add to our teams. And at AMCO, you're off on Saturdays and Sundays to recharge and be with your families. Yes, AMCO is a great place to do business because AMCO is a great place to work. Find the AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care Center nearest you online, AMCOJacksonville.com.
AA, MCO, AMCO Transmissions.
Make excellent happen. Only at New Balance can you get athletic footwear apparel and accessories with highly trained New Balance fit specialists to make sure everything is exactly right. If you're having a hard time finding comfortable shoes or have a hard-to-fit size, your answer is at the New Balance store. New Balance in Orange Park and Beach Boulevard features full-service sit and fit locations. Both New Balance stores have a full stock of running, walking, baseball, cross-training, and tennis shoes. You'll find sizes 5 to 18, widths AA, B, D, EE, 4E, 6E, plus orthotic arch supports. New Balance state-of-the-art computerized foot scanner gets the right fit every time. Make excellent happen at either New Balance store, 195 Beach Boulevard, open Monday through Saturday, 10 till 6. Call 620-0483 or 1871 Wells Road across from the Orange Park Mall. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 till 8. Call 592-7892. New Balance, athletic footwear and apparel for all ages.
Hi, this is Nick Simonek. Join us for It's Your Money. Every Monday between 2 and 3, you'll learn about taxes, personal, business, ministry taxes. You'll learn about the deductions. Do you have goals for retirement but no plan to reach them? Tune in and we'll help you walk through that. Do you have a bunch of student loans or overwhelming medical bills? We'll show you how to get out of debt. Remember, listen to It's Your Money at 2 p.m. on Mondays here on AM 600 and 101.1 FM. The Answer.
Stuck in traffic? WBOB has the answer.
Hey, watch out for the vehicle fire at 295 South. That is right before Wilson Boulevard, and that fire is blocking the right-hand lane. Gonna be mostly cloudy today, looking for a high near 70. Cloudy tonight, 20% chance of showers, down to 58, 90% chance of rain for your Sunday. High near 70. Sunday night, 80% chance of rain, low 54. It's up to 63, AM 600, WBOB.
Let's return to Real Estate Radio with Angela and Howard. For answers to your North Florida real estate questions, call into the show at 222-TALK. That's 222-8255.
Welcome back, everybody. I am so excited here at Real Estate Radio with Angela and Howard and Greg Harris of Watson Title. He is the president, and he is so smart. But, you know, he said something that surprised me just a tad. He said monsters.
Monsters?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Monsters showing up on title.
So I want to know about monsters on title. Tell me more.
Oh, it's funny, and we've got a great team in the back office, and they work numbers all day long. And it's a number, it's a money's business. You got to make sure 1 + 1 = 2,
right?
And that $5 has to be paid by Sally and not Joe, and not the other way around. But we do occasionally, get outside of the numbers. And part of the process of issuing title insurance, as we talked about before, was you order title, which is when you begin to search, and then the title commitment comes back when we and our underwriter make a commitment that when it closes, we'll issue an insurance policy on the title that's, good for the however long you own it and your heirs. And there's the exceptions part that says, okay, this is what we have found. And you have the normal things like here's a payoff for the mortgage and they got a home equity line of credit here. But then sometimes we find little monsters, interesting things that, maybe we could feed to, back in the day, Sally Jesse Raphael or something. We'll find out somebody's married.
Right.
And we'll ask people, who is Joe Smith? That's your husband. Oh, yeah. I haven't seen him in 10 years.
Uh-oh.
They've owned the property for 15 or so. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, well, we need to find him because this is also his property. So sometimes we help reunite long departed couples.
Who don't want to be reunited.
No, who really don't want to be reunited. But they're also...
so that person needs to sign
the paperwork,
the paperwork to release themselves from that property.
Especially if they're still married. And there are people who, they don't get divorced. They just go their separate ways. But that's still their house. That's still their Florida homestead because they live there.
And if there's profit, they actually...
That's what you like. Y'all need to figure that out.
Yeah, exactly, right? You don't want to get in the middle of that.
All we know is we just need a signature.
Yes.
Y'all work out that other part. And there are other things that y'all have been in the business for a long time. You've seen a few cycles. And, the last decade when we had the Great Recession began, there were a lot of mortgage companies and banks that went under. And occasionally we'll see little artifacts of that period come up. From 2006, there was a satisfaction of the mortgage that was not recorded, and that's still attached to that property. Now, that mortgage company went bankrupt. Its assets were bought in 2008 by another financial institution that went out of business.
Right.
Whose assets were purchased by a large bank who was then bought up by another bank. And anybody, and I won't use any names, but any large bank institution, if you need to get in touch with them, unless you're an active customer of theirs, it can take a while.
Yes.
And sometimes their databases have been integrated. Sometimes they literally have to get on the phone to a storage facility 20 minutes outside of San Antonio, and somebody's got to dig through and look for the paper, and it can take a while. But those are the things that you want to get cleared up so that new homeowner, when they own that property, it's theirs. They've got it. They're not responsible for 2 buyers ago, somebody who didn't pay off their second mortgage.
So I want to ask a question then. So if we have a situation, like I said, where I'm seeing 30-day closings again, and then you get a little monster like that, and you guys pull title first thing, that's your first step, right?
Correct.
Is to pull title, so you would know. So when you're looking at your monster and trying to assess it, you're trying to decide if we can still hit closing in 30 days, right?
Right. And the lender's going to want that cleared up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you have a lender, you have 2 things. You have the owner's policy is one policy that the homeowner will have that will protect them. And lenders are going to require a lender policy that we will simultaneously issue at the same time that belongs to the lender,
right,
that protects the lender's interests. So they want to make sure that if they're lending money based upon an assumption that a property is worth $200,000, that it's going to be worth $200,000, not that somebody else actually has $100,000 ownership of that.
Right, exactly.
Because then they get grumpy. So the lender's going to want to make sure that those exceptions that we find are taken care of and taken care of properly.
Yes.
So does the seller ever get kicked out of their house if they found out somebody later on has an interest in the house? What really happens?
Everybody goes to court. That's why we have attorneys. I've never seen, I haven't seen here locally where that has taken place. There are occasions where Usually it's when there's some type of fraud involved. But in most cases, the settlement is taken care of in court or between attorneys. Money can solve.
For money.
Yeah, for money. And that's why you have the insurance, because if for some reason there's a person who actually had a 25% interest in the property that wasn't taken care of at the sale, they're going to want to get their money out of it, and there's going to be legal fees that may cost just as much as that interest is. And that title policy will not only take care of that person's claim, but any attorney's fees or legal fees that are involved in defending your title to make sure that you don't get kicked out of your house.
Okay, and that's why you should always have a realtor involved and a title company involved, a settlement person like Watson Title involved in every transaction. Just because you know your neighbor and you want to buy your neighbor's property, you should never just say, hey, I want to buy your property. I'll buy it for $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. And you know your neighbor. Don't do it without getting a professional involved to handle putting together a legal contract and getting a title search done so that everyone, both the buyer and the seller, are protected. Have a realtor draw up a contract, have a title company do a title search, and do a proper closing, because there are survey lines that need to be drawn up to make sure. So let's talk about a survey for a couple of minutes. What's the point of doing a survey if, hey, I know my neighbor, I know where his land is, there's been a fence there for years and years, and I know what I'm buying. Why do I need a survey?
We see that all the time. And we had an occasion, a gentleman that I knew who was just buying a $35,000 piece of vacant land on the north side. He owns his own plumbing company that he was going to use as storage for his trucks. He knew the homeowner for decades, and he was just going to buy it in cash. And he's like, well, I don't want to spend money on a title insurance policy. And I said, well, then, because of the charter we have from the state of Florida, you can't close with me, but we don't charge, you go to an attorney, you're going to have attorney's fees and stuff like that, this is how much a title policy is going to cost you, and it'll be less than attorney's fees. So go ahead and close with us. Well, to make a long story short, that property was loaded with liens from the last decade when his good buddy and pal's business went belly up and he used that property as collateral. So the seller had to spend a few $1,000s to get those cleared out. If he had bought that property, it would have been his responsibility.
Wow. Can you just say wow?
Yeah,
right?
that's
we are all
big
trusting.
Impact.
We really are trusting when we have friends and family, and we just feel like, oh, it's not a big deal. I'll just buy it. I don't need title insurance. Yes, you do.
And with surveys, people put up fences incorrectly all the time, and you walk out there and you think, God, what a great backyard. Really? Well, 30% of that backyard actually is a protected wetland, and their brother put that fence in, and that fence cannot be there. It's got to be taken out. That can really impact people. They think they're buying a $100,000 property, but when they actually look at how that survey defines the property, it's probably worth maybe $75,000. A fence doesn't mean anything. It's the survey stake that matters.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, we're almost at a break time. When we come back after the break, I also want to talk about easements and what kind of an effect that can have on the value of the property that you are buying and selling. Because one of the properties that our customers was going to buy had an easement where his driveway was shared with a neighbor's. And he wanted to know if he could put up a fence to block some of his view of his neighbor, and we had to talk about that. So some interesting things that can occur when there are easements, not just an electrical easement where the power company can come onto your property or the cable company can come onto your property, but other types of easements as well. So we got all sorts of stuff that we can talk about that are interesting things that come up when you're buying or selling your home. So stay with us, everybody. Call us with your questions, 222-8255, and wait, we'll be right back. Hey, WBOB listeners, it's your realtor on the radio, Howard Vergalis of Watson Realty Corp. Angela and I don't just do the radio show, we are active realtors. When it's time to buy, we will interview you to determine your specific housing needs. Distance to work, style of home, school needs, distance to place of worship, kids' activities, lifestyles, number of bedrooms, budget, and so much more. In short, we do our very best to find you your perfect home. We won't waste your time showing you houses that don't fit your needs. Whether you're moving up, moving into your first home, or now an empty nester, you can trust us for the most important purchase of your life. It's what we do. It's what we'll do for you. Experience the Angela and Howard Team Advantage. Call us at 421-7950. One of the most critical parts of buying or selling your home is the very last process. That's the closing process. Angela and I recommend Watson Title Services. They have the experience to handle any issue that can come up, and there is never an upfront fee to the seller. Whether you are using a realtor with the sale of your home or not, always ask for Watson Title Service to handle your closing. We do. Call them at 461-3220. That's Watson Title Services. There's finally a mortgage lender in Jacksonville that sees financing differently. With 20 years' experience, CMG Financial understands that the most important purchase in your life, your home, deserves the right mortgage. Tim McConnell at CMG Financial will work to customize the best financing option for you. Angela and I recommend CMG Financial to all our customers. Give Tim a call at 528-2103. That's 528-2103. CMG Financial is a registered trade name of CMG Mortgage, Inc., NMLS number 1820, and licensed as a mortgage lender servicer by the Office of Financial Regulation, number MLD 375, individual MLS number 181046. Want to sell your home in less time for more money and without making repairs after the sale? Have your home inspected by Home Pro Inspections before it goes on the market. Since 1994, Home Pro has inspected over 35,000 local homes. Buyers trust Home Pro Inspections.
With an 18-month home warranty and a 5-year roof protection plan, your home will be the one buyers want to buy. Call Home Pro Inspections at 268-8211 or visit GoHomePro.com. It's not the fire in the fireplace that damages your chimney. It's the moisture. That's why the Chimney Safety Institute of America recommends an annual cleaning and inspection of your fireplace, regardless of how often you use it. The technicians at Chimney Champions clean the chimney, then use the ChimScam video system to do a complete inspection of your chimney to ensure your home is safe. You can trust Chimney Champions to clean and inspect your chimney. Howard and I do. Call 268-7200 or visit chimneychampions.com.
This segment of Real Estate Radio with Angela and Howard is brought to you by Watson Title Services of Northeast Florida. For answers to your North Florida real estate questions, call into the show at 222-TALK. That's 222-8255.
Welcome back, everybody. So excited to be here. I can't believe time flies so fast. This is the end, the last segment. I don't know where time goes.
And it's almost the end of January already.
Oh, my gosh. Can you believe it? Does that mean Christmas is right around the corner?
Have you written any checks yet that still say 2017?
No, I'm way into 2018.
That's because you don't write any checks, do you?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I thought you were an online sort of girl.
Oh, I like to be online, yes. Okay. But every now and again, there's a few checks I have to make.
Well, here we are still with Greg Harris, the president of Watson Title. And before the break, we started to talk about easements. So, Greg, tell everybody.
We were talking about monsters.
Monsters.
Just kidding.
No, we passed it.
Easements can be scary, too.
That's right.
Yes.
What is an easement? And tell us a couple of good stories about how an easement can play a part in the closing process and maybe some problems that have come up with easements.
Well, the easements play right into your survey. Look at your survey. Understand your survey.
Right.
Take some time to, what is this dash line exactly? And it's kind of a point of shop humor, but it can be heartbreaking for people if they really don't understand what they're looking at. And one of the more recent examples we have was a couple had bought a property, and one of the primary things they loved about the property was the view out of the kitchen. They can have their coffee, look in the back, and they got these great crepe myrtles. And the guy liked the view so much that we bought the property. It was all kind of, rough and ready in the back. So he would go and mow around the crepe myrtles and the nice little bushes. So he had his little park back there. Woke up one morning and there's a very large piece of machinery tearing up his beautiful crepe myrtles and everything. And the guy went apoplectic. And of course, apoplexy works its way down the chain to everybody involved with the source of the apoplexy. But what that wasn't his property. It was clearly defined on the survey as not his property. It was part of an easement. Welcome to the Sunshine State. We have drainage issues. We have to keep our drainage easements clear. And that's what happened in this case. And it's Florida. In 12 months, it'll grow back just as big. Just be patient. So he needed to be aware of that. There also can be issues with surveys. For instance, there was a development in the area that began before the Great Recession started last decade. And so people had built houses, and then over a course of 6 or 7 years, nobody built either side of them.
Right.
In the last few years, people are buying those lots and building again. And sometimes mistakes are made when pouring concrete. And the part of the concrete slab that is the foundation for HVAC actually was over the property line when the survey was done. Because, and this happened when I built my house back in 95, sometimes you want your house in a certain place, but because humans are imperfect, the whole house is skewed 2 feet in one direction. It's like, that's not where the footer is supposed to be. Well, it's already laid. And you can do a couple of things to resolve issues like that. In this case, it involved one of those large circular concrete saws, and that got things back across the property line.
Craig, we have a caller. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Good.
You have a question for anybody today?
Yeah, actually, so my spouse and I are trying to purchase a home. We have, I guess, what would now be considered non-traditional credit, i.e. neither one of us owes any debts, neither one of us has any open credit accounts. We're both in healthcare. We're both healthcare practitioners. So as you guys can imagine, we earn a whole lot of money. We do very well for ourselves. The issue that we've run into is now that we've sort of paid off all of our student debt, which happened a few years ago, we've built up some of our retirement accounts, or at least began building them up. Neither of us really have had any open credit accounts, so we've gone to several lenders in an attempt to sort of determine what we can get. We finally found someone who would be willing to lend to us. However, what they're telling us is that because of our what's now considered non-traditional credit, that the maximum they would loan is whatever the average home value for whatever county we purchased a home was. And so what I'm attempting to ascertain is that sort of standard practice now, or is this just, are we sort of kind of getting raked over the coals here? And would it be best to just keep looking for another lender, or to attempt to establish what would be now considered, traditional credit lines through credit cards or lines of credit with a bank?
I'll answer that. So, Mike, here's what I'm thinking. I can find you a lender who can do this, but I need to ask you a few more questions because they're kind of personal. I think we should do it after the show. So if it's okay with you, I'll send you back over to the producer and have him get your number, and then I'll call you afterwards because some of it will get a little bit personal. But we can find someone for you. And
is that sort of standard now?
No. And having non-traditional
not.
credit also is not standard, by the way.
Yeah, there are specialty lenders out there that we're aware of. So we can get you in touch with someone who can help you.
But I'm proud of you. That's awesome that you guys are doing so great.
Yeah.
That is really, really awesome.
So we'll get you back to our producer to get your phone number, and we'll get in contact with you later today.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
But as a message to the rest of our listeners today, this is a good thing, a good teaching moment, that if you do have something that is non-traditional, give us a call, and we can probably be able to help you. It's just like, Greg with Watson Title Services. 90%, Greg, of what you do is traditional, but there's that other 10% that takes a lot of your time, but is actually fun to do, and makes your job kind of interesting.
It is, and I tell people all the time. In the last year, we closed 1,818 units listings.
Nice.
And I tell people, what you think is weird, we see every day.
Right.
And that's why you want to get professionals on your team, because you may ask your brother, your sister, your neighbor, hey, I'm here in X. I've never heard of that before. Call the professionals to deal with it every day. We've seen your challenge before. Let us help take that stress away from you. We know how to handle it. We'll help take care of it. It's not weird. It's just part of doing business. And I think, your caller has a perfect point that, he's in a unique situation, but you see people like him all the time, and who are the right resources that could help him find a path that works for what he wants.
Yeah. There are specialty lenders out there that do special things. So there are people that get divorced, for example, where the spouse, usually the female, has zero credit because every piece of credit was in the name of the husband. So it's not that the wife, and I'm just using that as an example, has had
But
bad
someone
credit.
that happened to.
Yes,
me.
I do. It's not that she had bad credit.
I had no credit.
Had no credit whatsoever
Yeah.
because
No paper
there was
trail.
They thought I stole someone's identity. They're like, ma'am, I'm at the Mercedes dealer trying to buy a car, and they're going, ma'am, you're like 48 years old. You're not on paper anywhere. Did you steal this
I'm
social
not in the
security
witness
number?
protection program, I promise.
I'm like, no, I had good advice on how to be a wife. So if
so
if
she had
you
had
debt.
no credit cards.
Right.
You had the
Nothing.
house wasn't in your name.
Nope.
The car wasn't in your name. You had absolutely nothing.
Right.
So your credit score was non-existent.
Yeah.
It's not that it was low. It was nothing.
Yeah.
So you were given advice on how to build that, but we found someone.
And now I'm at 800. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now it got built up very quickly.
Right.
But we found someone to take a chance on you.
That's exactly right.
And they did, because nobody knew about you.
Right.
Now everybody knows about you, Angela.
Yes, you made me a star.
But anyway, let's get back to Greg here. We only have a couple
1 minute.
minutes.
No, 1 minute.
Oh, we got
There's
1
the bell.
minute. Oh my gosh! Yeah, the Van Weezer.
Anything you want to add, Greg,
outside.
in that 1 minute?
2018 is going to be great. 2017 was excellent, and everything looks at 2018 is going to be perfect.
I want to add that if you are going to close a house, you need to do it with Watson Title, and their telephone number is 461-3220.
Right.
You can also email at office@watsontitle.net.
Yeah, that's an important number, 461-3220. You do not have to deal with a Watson Realty closing.
Yeah, you could
to
do it for
use
sale by owner.
Watson Title. That's
We love
very,
everyone.
very important. And if you need Angela or myself for your real estate needs, call me at 687-8161, or you can call Angela at 465-3845. Remember, you need a professional on your side when you're dealing with an important transaction like real estate. The Van Weezer here. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back.